Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo saranto suchedoye olahudi samyao samputoshe.
Namo saranto suchedoye olahudi samyao samputoshe.
Okay, if you can do it together.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。
Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in a million eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the actual meaning. May it be so. Okay. We are not specifically addressing Guanyin Bodhisattva this retreat, but I would like to bring people's breath and focus together on a song. Songs have that power. We put our breath together. And this is a song written by a Canadian songwriter, but it has the spirit of Guanyin Bodhisattva in a marvelous way. And it's a sing-along. It definitely invites everybody to contribute to this, share it. And this is one of the songs that unites people everywhere. Whenever I play this, no matter where I am on the planet, people go, that's a very nice song. And I kind of get the spirit of Guanyin Bodhisattva, although it's English from the start. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. Okay, so you hear people already know how to put their voice to the song, and this is a wonderful song for summoning up the feminine and the compassionate from the planet, from our own natures, coded who knows how many millions of years back. As long as there have been humans, the potential for compassion is here, and it manifests in female form in this way. So she carries me. So please put any face that you would like to add to the spirit of great compassion in your heart as you sing this. She is a boat, she is a light, high on a hill, in the dark of night. She is a wave, she is a deep, she is the dark, where the angels sleep, when all is still, when peace abides. She carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, we do it twice. She carries me, she carries me to the other side. knees deep, and shadows chase me in my sleep. On rocky cliffs I stand alone. I have no name, I have no home. With broken wings I long to fly. She carries me to the other side. She carries me. She carries me. She carries me to the other side. It could be the Holy Blessed Virgin if you see it that way. She carries me. She carries me. She carries me to the other side. 1,000 arms, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 ears to hear my cries. She is the gate, she is a door, she leads me through and back once more. When day has dawned and death is nigh, she carries me to the other side. Last time. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. So that's a healing song. Thanks to Jennifer Barazon for bringing that one down for us. Okay, hang on to your songbook. We're going to need that later. People know that Shifu was a songwriter, right? Master Husan Hua wrote songs to be sung, just like that one. We have a book published by BTTS, by ourselves, Buddhist Text Translation Society. It's called Xuan Hua Shangren Ji Zan Xuan Gong Shangren Ji Zan Ji Zan Yong Qu Zhuan Ji, something like that. The collection of Master Husan Hua's verses, poems, songs, and gathas, I guess. And it's a hardbound. It's in a case. It's in a slipcover case. It's purple. It's one of our very, very best publications ever. And it's got beautiful graphics inside. And it has exhaustively collected all of Shifu's various verse creations, of which there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Shifu is not universally known as a poet, except to us. And after we finish his biography, which we're at work at now, he will be known as for his literary output, which was voluminous. So this collects them all. And we found half a dozen songs that were written as 歌曲, including I'm really lucky to study Buddhism. That one. And 今虚空佛性充满了. That one, yeah. That's a great song. And 大放光明转法轮狮子后生万世尊. That one, very heroic sounding. Very great songs. So, lots and lots.
I'm really lucky in English.
In English. He wrote it in English, right? Yeah, Shifu gave it to us in English, and one of our nuns put it into music. Yep. He also wrote a song for Sanbui Bai, which is not well known. It was Goody Goody Cultivators, you too. The city of 10,000 Buddhas awaits you. With every step you take, be true. He said.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah, like you, be true, Guojang. Don't tell so many lies. So yeah. And he wrote a song for Ron Epstein called Thieving Mouse People.
What?
We don't keep our Buddhism in the closet, in English. Ron, it was the teaching to Ron, because Ron, at one point, he was being bullied by his professor at Cal, at UC Berkeley. And Ron, just to save trouble, at one point, invited some guests in and didn't admit that he was really a Buddhist. He was for various stuff. Shifu found out about it. I got you. We don't hide our Buddhism in the closet. We're not thieving mouse people. Something. So it's like, so Ron like, ooh. Shifu, once he got a handle, ooh boy. Yeah. So so turn to the back of our purple boxed set, and you'll find all Shifu's songs, right? Songs to be sung, till we sing. Okay. Before let's while everybody's fresh and all, Jin Chuan Shi, you want to talk about what you want to talk about? This is our time for everyone to be together when we're not listening to our CTDB, our Buddha Farm snapshots. So,
Heng Sure, the first one here. Very top.
So we're gonna
Just very quickly.
look at other stuff.
I don't know if Angela also wants to say something, but one of the things that we're trying to plan for the next semester, October 15th to December 18th, the poster, this is the poster, is to actually create a program for those who come after a Guanyin retreat to stay at 6,000 Buddhas so they continue their practice. What we experience, and I think people might experience Komi CTB, is they come for the Guanyin session, Doug there,
Yeah.
you know, he's there for the week leading it, and everybody has a really good experience. And after that, they stay, and they just can get lost at CTB.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes. And so the spirit of it is to continue what we're doing at the Guanyin session into the life of CDTV, so that basically the students who come in don't just kind of get lost and thrown into like the deep end of the pool, but get a whole schedule of practice still to support them. So the idea about it is to so you start October 15th as a Guanyin session. So after that Guanyin session, Doug will be there. We have a university extension team, which is Heng Sure, myself, Ken, Jason, Megan is on it. We also have Flavia. After she saw the program, said, I'm going to be a student in it. So Flavia is going to be joining it. And basically, I use basically a lot. The program is to give people a chance to practice. We're going to keep the whole CDB schedule more or less, getting it for morning ceremony and practicing with everyone. We'll have study, and we're actually going to try to use the theravada teachings, but then show how it naturally expands out into the mahayana vision of the Dharma as well. So we have this balance of these two traditions. And then we're going to have a chance for people to have a community of practitioners together. And we're also going to have a chance to do some yoga. We're actually hoping to incorporate some of what Fabrizio is doing in our afternoons here, because we think it's like a really good part of being a CDP is you need to have some exercise. And also we're going to have some work, and the idea is to have the work as a community. So, maybe the men as a group and the women as a group, so that people aren't just kind of thrown into the CDDB working system and having to deal with that whole system by themselves. So the idea is starting on October 15th with the Guanyin session. For 7 weeks we have this program, and then we finish with the Amitabha session. And that's the whole program. And if people want, we're not going to support you because people have to have their break as well, but you can do the Chan session after that. So you can prepare yourself to do the Chan.
Furthermore, if you want more information, go to www.hashkey.
Yeah, this is before we've actually publicized yet. We're just giving you a sneak preview. But if you're really interested in this, you can come talk with Heng Sure or myself or Megan on the women's side. We're basically got asked to do it by the admin council of the DRBU in our last meeting before the summer started, because they really saw this need. And so we thought about it, and this is what we could put together for the upcoming semester.
Give her a chance to say something if she wants to.
Okay, Angela?
Yes, Gensler, she wants to add something.
Yeah, she wants to be tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, okay. So yes. So we're just going to mention that. So if you're interested, just talk with Heng Sure, myself, or Megan, or if you know other people. We're just hoping this will be an opportunity so people come, and if they want to say volunteer long-term at CDB, they at least get a foundation so that it supports them in the future. Angela and Spike will also be helping out because they're living at CDB full-time.
Angela Morel, yeah,
right over there. Yeah, Angela and Spike.
We're on page 13. We are not. We're on page 14. Page 14 at the bottom. And the Bodhisattva is about to go out for alms, for food. This is a mendicant context. Mendicants are people who live on the goodwill of others. Okay? And these bodhisattvas live on the goodwill of kind-hearted donors who value what the monastics do and want to keep them going. They're light footprint, light on the earth, low maintenance beings. Some bowl full of vegetables and rice will keep them going. And in return, they keep the vision of the Dharma alive. Now, that's nice for them, isn't it? But what benefit does society get from that? Anybody ever heard of the theory and the book called How the Irish Saved Civilization? How the Irish... Nobody? I guess I just kind of... You get it from me, but I keep pounding it. We know your stuff. We've heard your material, Dharma Master, so yeah, we heard it. You keep bringing it up. Okay. Thomas... The guy's name, he's a historian. His name is Thomas Carey. If we had Wi-Fi, I would immediately go find out what it is. Thomas Carey, Kelly. Anyway, historian who saw, he was a historian of religious history in Europe, and he saw how in the Dark Ages, of which Europe was possessed, there were repeated invasions by tribes. They had names like the Goths, the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, the Huns, the Tatars, even the Mongols, right? Came wave after wave after wave down usually from the north. Then the Vikings came, and then following the Vikings or more Vikings. And everywhere they went, they got out of their boats and burned and killed and raped and pillaged.
Was this like during the Dark Ages?
Dark Ages. Got back in the boats and thrown away. So what they burned at the time was all knowledge, which by and large was kept up in the Bible and the books that supported the Bible.
Ivory towers.
What's that?
In the ivory towers.
Okay, yeah. Well, not ivory.
Oh,
no,
not
in the stone towers.
Stone towers.
Yeah, not ivory tower. Mixing the metaphor in there. That's all right. In a tower, you got that part. So, what was going on was these, cultureless, barbaric peoples would invade and burn everything and then go away. And knowledge was by and large in a couple books, because there weren't books. People didn't read. Who had the time to learn to read? So it was mostly Latin and other, biblical languages. Well, the answer to that question is the monks had time to read. Their lives were devoted to preserving a couple copies of the Bible and allied literature, right? And this was a time of hand lettering, right? Calligraphy. Anybody ever heard of the Book of Kells? Kells. Yeah, anybody ever see the Book of Kells? Oh my goodness. And other illuminated manuscripts, not that you turn a light on. Illuminated means the first letter, chi or rho or something, would be this big on the page, and there would be in the letter, there would be all these incredible worlds within worlds of, you know, deer and leprechauns and fairies coming down, and it's one letter, the first letter, in the beginning, I, chi, you know, rho, whatever the first letter was. And the monks would be in their stone towers illuminating the manuscript, while down below the Goths and the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths and the Huns and the Vandals were all like trying to burn them. The monks were out on these distant islands off the coast of Ireland, places called Skellig and things, in these monasteries that were vertical. They were stone towers, and the monks were up there keeping the Bible alive from being burned. And so when the Vandals and all got tired, they would get in their boats and go away. The monks would go, it's all clear. They would open the door down below and say, who would like to learn to read? Who would like to know about the gospel? Here it is. And they preserved culture. Fast forward to the 21st century, and what we're talking about today, the marketplace being entirely driven by profit, and never mind whether there is any virtue. Now, where do you go, including China, if you want to hear about filiality? You go to places where there's like developing virtue, instilling goodness schools, where the first thing that students learn is about repaying kindness. And then I go back to China, Jin Chuanshi goes back to China, where we will be 1 week from today telling Chinese college students about the reformed version of filiality. It's not obey me, it's recognize kindness. 知恩报恩. We're carrying virtue back to China. And that sounds a big deal. You think you're really hot stuff, right? It's like, that's exactly what we're doing. You know, Master Hua had this vision of virtue in practice, and so we're going back, and in a way, the Buddhist monks are preserving traditional view of virtue, the same way the Irish preserved the Bible in Dark Ages. Interesting. So here I am in Australia. There's a Confucian conference at Bond University. Scholars from all over the world, including China, half a dozen scholars from China, coming to study Confucianism in its modern forms. And so what are the topics? The topics are Confucianism as a market force, you know, Confucian capitalism, and Confucianism and gender, you know, trying to find a female voice within Confucianism, and Confucianism and power politics on the global stage, you know, and
some of the class courses for UC Davis too.
Okay, cool. So there's like, you know, and so my turn, and one of the professors' mother was sick in Singapore. She had to leave. So in a hurry, they said, who's, you know, I get a phone call, could you stand in for Professor Feng because we need you, you know, so that, yeah. So I like on 24 hours notice, I get a slideshow together and go in and say, well, actually, you know, filiality is taught in our schools, and we teach our children about Confucius was actually a very caring teacher, and we bring those principles alive through filiality in the elementary schools, and then, you know, connection to the nation in high school, and then great compassion, and then we take that forward into from xiao dao to compassion in the Buddhist practice. And these people are on the edge of their chairs, and they're going, that's really interesting. Who teaches this? I said, well, Master Husan Hua, he kind of reformed, he sat by his mother's grave for 3 years, practicing filiality, you know, and it's like all they could talk about the rest of the conference was whether Confucius can be considered a living teacher, and how do we translate this? And they're all going, yeah, boy, our kids so need this so much. Why did, you know, it just, the whole conference sparked with the notion of filiality being the foundation of your pedagogy, of your teaching. Bring it alive. Recognizing the kindness your parents gave to you. And I just said the same stuff we say at CTTB all the time. Shifu's vision. And the timing was right, and clearly, I mean, their curriculum was maybe sort of interesting, but also very boring. Confucius was a philosophical perspective instead of being the heart of your cultivation. Virtue opens into wisdom, you know. So it's not a stretch to say that maybe Buddhism in America is keeping the traditional view of virtue alive. Maybe the Irish saved civilization, maybe the Buddhists are saving virtue. You know, so anyway, that's a big... What's that?
Making it go viral.
See,
Making virtue go viral.
making virtue go viral. There you go.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So my topic was teaching Buddha Dharma through a Confucian lens, which is what Master Hua did. He gave us the Dharma through the perspective of teaching virtue. Anyway, so Omar, you had your hand.
I just wanted to say that for me, it really does, coming here or to CTTB really does feel like going to a tower with monks when like barbarian tribes are like savaging the world, well, the marketplace and everything, because it really, you really, if in those times you couldn't learn how to read unless you went to a monk, and in these times you really cannot learn about virtue and about real wisdom anywhere else. Nobody else teaches this in a living way. So it really is like going to a tower to learn how to read.
Speak into the microphone. I like what you're saying.
Well, that's how it's been for me.
There you go. All right. Testimony. Okay, palms together here as I grasp the tin staff. Ready? As I grasp the tin staff, I think, may all living beings establish great giving banquets and point the way to true suchness. All right. What's a tin staff? It's an actual monk's implement that rattle so that animals who hear you, who might not see you but hear you, they run away. You don't hurt them. So that bugs on the ground will feel the bonk bonk as you walk, vibration, and they'll clear out of your footpath so you don't squash bugs.
Is that what you guys have at BBM?
We do. And
I thought it was like
Earth Store on the altar.
Tall, right?
There's one right there. See Earth Store Bodhisattva next to our Buddha's left knee.
I thought that was like a weapon for like.
Well, yeah, I mean you could use it as a weapon, but it's
like
mostly.
Ghosts, like you guys been off ghosts with that.
It's used mostly to ward off critters that you might otherwise harm. And so the Bodhisattva the protagonist in our story, the monk in question. And nuns didn't do this alone. I don't know, did nuns do the tin staff? Nuns didn't go out for alms rounds alone. They had to go out in couples or trios because women in India were prey. A woman alone, without a protector, without a husband, without a son, without a bodyguard, was pretty much up for grabs, even if she was wearing a robe. So women, not as much. That's another whole story about Indian culture and gender issues. But we have the cultivator on his way out for food. One of the things he carries is this staff, which is their kind of a early warning system. Here I come. What's next? Ready up the top? Here we go. Taking up my bowl, I think, may all living beings become vessels of Dharma to receive the offerings of gods and people. Yep, we stopped. Sorry, I should give you the signal. Dharma Stila, you said there was a nun in Hong Kong? I didn't know that story, who received Deva's offering.
Yeah. I don't remember the name, but she was certified her. She lived in a cave or something, but she stopped eating and there's that ascetic practice, the ultimate aim is to end up being fed by the gods. So you just you're no longer fasting in the sense of you're going to eat food later.
Yeah.
You no longer eat food, normal food, fed by the gods.
There was a nun in Hong Kong who stopped eating but didn't die because the gods, the devas, would come and give her food. nectar, ambrosia, something. How about that? So, one of the titles of the Buddha is Tian Ren Shi, the teacher of gods and humans. And there's a long, long history of devas, these beings that live in the heavens, interacting with humanity if you're a virtuous cultivator. The devas, who are mortal, not immortal, they die, they have a lifespan, they come down to be taught by you if you're virtuous. In this case, a nun, Buddhist bhikshuni. How about that? I wasn't aware of that one. All right. Next one is the road. Following that is a path. Next one is a road. Next is a path. Next is a road. Then there's a path. Then there's a road. Then there's a road. Then there's a road and a road. All the way down. Yeah, down until multitude assembled. Okay. So let me read those, just so you can watch with your eyes and listen with your ears. Here we go. Setting out along the road, I think, may all living beings approach the conduct of the Buddhas and advance to the place of no further reliance. When traveling on a path, I think, may all living beings walk the Buddha path towards the Dharma of no trace of defilement. When walking on a road, I think, may all living beings walk through the purified Dharma realm with minds free and unobstructed. When I encounter a steep path, I think, may all living beings transcend the three realms eternally, their minds free from timidity and fear. When going downhill on a road, I think, may all living beings be humble and respectful and advance in the Buddha's wholesome qualities. That's good roots, translated. I don't know why the others are still good roots here. When I walk on a winding and crooked path, I think, may all living beings, page 16, renounce crooked ways and eradicate wrong views forever. When I encounter a straight road, I think, may all living beings have minds both straight and proper, free from flattery and deceit. When I see a dusty road, I think, may all living beings leave behind the dust and get the pure Dharma. When I see a dust-free road, I think, may all living beings always practice great compassion that moistens and nourishes their hearts. Finally, when I encounter a dangerous road, I think, may all living beings abide in the realm of the right Dharma and avoid wrongdoing and difficulty. Okay, so what I get from those verses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 verses that all have the word road or path in them, is a large part of alms rounds is walking on a road. A lot. People know that the Mahayana tradition, when it got to China, pretty much stopped going out for alms. Thailand, the Thai forest monks keep it going. Even the Thai city monks keep it going. Different groups. But and Master Hua said that in the future, he said, the CTTB is going to go back to alms rounds, the Sangha. He said, first we'll do it inside CTTB, and then we'll do it outside. Now that means talmage, right? So we better get ready. Lots of Hispanic friends. We'll get lots of tacos, tortillas, tamales, and frijoles. And we'll have a good Mexican diet. Nourishing. We'll be flourish on Hispanic food. Why not? Why not? We eat in the neighborhood, right? It won't be rice and tofu, guaranteed. It won't be Chinese food. Mm-hmm. So, okay. I lived in Thailand briefly at the invitation of our Dharma friends from the Thai forest tradition, and had the chance to go out for alms rounds in the Thai villages briefly. And here's the experience. Early in the morning, before sunrise, right? Depending on the season, it's before sunrise. And you take your shoes off, and if you have tender feet, good luck. And I had tender feet. And you take your bowl, and they show you how to handle the bowl, and there's definitely a way to do it. and you with a strap and all, and you go out in line according to seniority. Senior monk first and on down. And you go swiftly walking out over the fields, along these narrow lanes through paddy fields, through rice paddies. And if you are walking on a road full of pebbles, you go out, like that. And these leather-footed bhikshus who do it every day, they're just don't, and I'm like, oh, that's a rock, that hurts, and they all come, and I'm senior, so I'm in front, and they're all going, come on, Bhante, like we're waiting, and so I'm, oh, you got, So then you're approaching a village. It's a farming village, and the dogs know you're there first, and the dogs bark, 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 bark. So you come around, and everybody kind of straightens their robe, and you're walking by, and you stop, and here are the dad, often, before he's gone out to work in the fields, and there's mom, and she's holding a baby, and there's, the older brother and younger sister, sometimes grandma's out there, and they're smiling, and they have a big silver bowl full of cooked rice or vegetables, sometimes fish sauce, not always, and things in plastic bags like, sauce or something, and then maybe fruit from their garden. And the first monk stops, and if he's the senior and he knows everybody, he goes, good morning, how are you? And he chucks the baby in the chin, and the other monks don't talk. There's no talking allowed, but he's, how's grandmother? She's feeling better, good. And so he lifts the cover of his bowl, and whoever's first, the father and mother, takes a rice paddle and puts some rice in the bowl and maybe a bag full of preserved greens, and closes the bowl and moves on. The second monk lifts, boom, like that. Then they take the baby any time from as long as they can hold the rice paddle, maybe 12 months or something, and they put the paddle in the baby's hand, and she's like, oh, yeah. And so one of the first imprints of the baby's consciousness is feeding monks, and the monks go by, don't say a word, no money. You don't say, I want, give me, please, nothing. You just go by, and whatever they care to plant in your bowl is what you accept. And you go on until it's all gone, and you go to the next house. And they're waiting, and, oh, how are you? Nice to see you. Yeah, well, if you want to come by, fix the tractor. 2 o'clock is a good time. Okay, see you, And boom, offering, and go by. And you go through the whole village this way. And the lay people are just beaming, and they say, any day that begins with an opportunity to feed these clean, pure monks is a day that had a good beginning. This day began well. And it's like, wow, you're this far away from your lay support. It is a symbiotic relationship. The lay people feel like they are getting the good deal because they're giving some rice, they're planting blessings. Their life is going to be good in the future. Their kid's going to get to college. There will be abundant harvests. The diseases will stay away because they're supporting these cultivating Buddhas, as far as they're arhats, as far as they know. And the monks, they keep on walking until they're done with the village. If their bows are full, and there are lay people, the support crew for the monks are there with these big plastic baskets. And suppose somebody puts a whole bag of potato chips in your bowl. Your bowl's full, right? So what do? You go, dump. and he's got this plastic basket full of potato chips and apples and, melons and stuff. So it's not the case that, if you eat those potato chips today, that's it. No, it's like, you receive what they offer. And then they take the baskets and put them in a van that was conveniently parked around the corner, right? And so then you all go back to the monastery, ouch, 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 over the pebbles. And you take the bowls, and they've had big trays, and you dump out what you got, all the rice and all the greens and all. And the kitchen attendants sort it out, heat it up. The monks wash their feet, rinse out their mouth, go sit in the dining hall, and get ready, get all set up. And the food comes in, and according to seniority, You take what you want in the same bowl that you use for alms, and then you chant. By this time, some of the lay families have cleaned up and come to the monastery, and they're waiting for the parita, for the chants. They listen to the Pali, and they feel like that's double blessings, because they get to hear the chants. And then you eat, and that's the meal. And they do that every day. Every day.
How long is the process?
It's like you usually eat around 10, so you go out before sunrise. So it's about 4 hours, and sometimes you walk 2 miles. If you live in a remote monastery, a wat, way out in the woods, it takes you an hour and a half to walk to the village, hour and a half back carrying this heavy bowl with food in it. So it's quite an experience. And sometimes the lay people give you what they don't eat themselves, like what? Like fish or meat. They might not eat meat in a week, but here comes the Sangha, we'll give you our best. Meanwhile, it's already slightly spoiled, so you don't say, I don't want that. You choke it down, you get diarrhea. And so 7 pagodas powder, Chitasan, is the #1 best friend of the alms monk, because you're eating out of all the village kitchens, right? It's a very organic process. And sometimes the monks say, I get so tired of being a merit machine for these people. It's like, Bhante, stop! I got to make this offering to you. Very well, and that's the when it gets too much. But the process, I felt blessed to walk down and receive. I mean, they didn't recognize me in my robe. I didn't look like they look like, but they were like, okay, here, Bhante. I became Bhante for the offerings. And it was like, I see how the Buddha set that up. That's what he set up. What Shifu said was, there's no doubt that the monks are there to receive offerings. That was the Buddha's system, is alms rounds. And so bit by bit in China, when the monasteries are on the mountaintop, there's no villages, right? The monastery is way up on the top of the mountain where you go to cultivate. And so in China, what happened is you take a huge bag of rice up twice a year. New Year's, Buddha's birthday. And the monks parcel out the rice, the rest of the year, the rice and the oil, and then they grow their own crops. That's how the Chinese did it for remote mountain monasteries. And the alms round, you didn't have anybody to go alms rounds for. So bit by bit in China it stopped. But here are the monks from Abhayagiri, our neighbors in Redwood Valley, right? What do? They go down to Ukiah and do alms rounds in the city. It's like they get offerings all the time. First they started with a bakery, stood outside the bakery, What are you doing out there? Those are monks. Oh, we got some day-old bread. Do you think you might? Big smile, So pretty soon it's like, oh, here come the monks. Let's get ready, And so now they go on alms rounds. And I mentioned that to Ajahn Pasano. He said, yeah. He's Canadian. Yeah. We get, lots of alms. Of course, most of the lay people who do the offering come from city of 10,000 Buddhas, Click, bong. Oh, maybe we should do alms round the CTTV. Right. So, okay. Fine. It's good. Yes.
Sorry.
Who's speaking? There she is. Hi, Tran.
In Portland, they go down Hawthorne Boulevard, which is one of the busiest boulevards in southeastern Portland, and it's all like clothing shops and pizza parlors and record stores and hair cutting places.
Yo.
I have no idea how they get there.
Yeah, right. The hair cutting. There's not much. Yeah. Okay, so Jin Chuan Shi and Qin Xian Shi and myself go visit Ajahn Siddhanto in White Salmon, Washington, right across the river, right across the Hood River from the Rogue River? Hood River. Hood River from Oregon. And Ajahn Siddhanto and some of his Dharma brothers have been doing alms rounds in this little town of White Salmon for 2 or 3 years now. Everybody knows him. And we went on alms rounds in White Salmon, Oregon, Washington, and it was an incredible experience. to go into the kitchens of these, retired school teachers who say, "Oh, Bhante, I'll be out later for meditation. By the way, here you go." They got to, and the little kids go, "Hi, Bhante. You want to play catch today?" They're offering up sandwiches and tortillas and things, and Siddhanta's just like, very good, lovely, and Buddha Dharma is coming to America, right there. Right? You want to share your experience? What was that like?
Well, they started out, they were actually out far away on top of a mountain because they didn't have any resources. And so they would actually trek, I think, a couple miles down the mountain every day to get the white salmon.
In the snow?
In the snow. And so the place there is like really an extreme sport area. And people really like to do sports. Like windsurfing, biking. Like the biking trails are like crazy there. And they do it. He says at night they travel with these little light bulbs and like infrared vision goggles, biking through the forest. And so they were just trying to figure out who are these monks coming in. And then they found out where they lived, and they found out what they were doing every day, walking down, and not for sure getting food. And it's like whoever is able to hike, 2 or 3 miles through snow with like snowshoes, they're probably okay. And so they were really impressed by the monks and how you could say rugged they were.
Every day.
Yeah. That's all they ate. They just ate whatever they were offered.
Hardcore.
They're hardcore. He was very hardcore. This is what he's going to do. And so he just goes, and day by day he goes in, and then over time he impressed the people there. That he created a kind of a community. It was really impressive to see all the people who were moved by their practice. And so when we went, there was already a very strong community of support that knew Ajahn Suddhanta and knew the community.
Meanwhile, they moved. Yes,
and they moved. They had a very nice place now that's much closer to the city, and so that was very nice to see. But they had some very interesting stories to start. I forgot one was when they walked in the first time. They saw this kind of like guy with a gun. Wait, what was do you remember that story?
I forget. No.
Yeah, I remember they said that first. Do you remember that? When they walked in, he was telling us the first story they went into.
Follow them.
Yeah, he was something about some people like with guns and things, and he was like really scared, but he just kept going. And I forgot what was the end of that story. They survived. They had some very interesting stories in the beginning, but they persevered, and actually I could really see the community there is learning the Dharma because of their alms round. That's really interesting to see that the alms round itself is the teaching. To see the monks walk through every day, just to see monks. People were talking about that, I think, this afternoon, about just seeing a monk. They just got moved. So they get to see a monk walk through this town every day mindfully, and that's it.
The messengers, yeah.
Here's the messengers, just walk through the town, and whoever wants to offer something, they offer something. And they don't, advertise or anything, and people just see that and they go, "Oh, what are they doing?" They might have a friend, and they go, "Who are they doing?" So, well, you can make an offer if you want.
Who are these guys?
Yeah, and they say, "Well, we can make an offering. We're not Buddhists, but we can make an offering." They go to school kids, and school kids want to make offerings, so they make an offering. So it's a very organic system there. And
Heng Sure, you want to reflect?
And I can say, I felt that they totally change energy in this small city.
Yeah.
If you walked, they are become kind of part of the landscape in the city. And Ajahn Suddhanta said that some boss of the bank noticed, who is these guys? Well, they're the monks. So they received the offering. Can I offer something to them?
The bank manager.
Bank manager.
Bank of White Salmon.
Yes, please, if you want. And Ajahn Suddhanta...
We take 20s, 50s?
It's really strange because, the theravada monks are really strictly about don't use any money. And the monk with all alms ball went to the bank directly. And he gave to him some coffee or, some bars or something.
Donuts.
Sadhu. And Ajahn Suddhanta one time also said, we visited this house, and the small, maybe 9 years old kid opened the door and said, "Shh, my parents are sleeping."
My parents are sleeping.
Yeah, and he take some toasts and make the sandwiches with the peanut butter. And over,
9-year-old kid.
Wow, it's kind of amazing. Actually.
Yeah. And so we're walking down the street, and there's this big, gruff, kind of grandpa, white-haired fellow on a stepladder repairing his porch light, right? And so we go walking by, and the old guy goes, "Hey, fellas, like that, right?" He says, "Yeah, like that, huh?" And Siddhanta goes, "You bet, like that." And then he says, "I've seen that guy every single day. He never has said a word to me before." He said, "That's a breakthrough." Seeing all of us walk down the street.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. Yes.
And what is also amazing that because many monks came to visit the Pacific Hermitage, and sometimes Ajahn Liem, who is the
successor of Ajahn Chah.
Successor of Ajahn Chah, can knock to your door and open the door. With alms round coming to your room, to your kitchen. It's amazing.
Yeah, pretty amazing. And so that's another form of Buddhist practice that Mahayana doesn't do. We don't do alms rounds. And we might consider what that might mean. We could, conceivably, Berkeley would seem to be a place where we would get a positive response, but Siddhanta made the point that you can't not do it once you start. If you start, you got to do it. So we would have to now. If you look at it in Berkeley Monastery, a different family every day takes the responsibility of making offerings, right? Gohua, she's Thursday. Gohua down in Foster City, Union City, gets up at opens her refrigerator, says, "What will I cook today?" She cooks the food, brings it to the monastery, and we eat because of her generosity. And then on Tuesday it's the Indians, Nipun and Guri, young family makes offerings. Hindus makes offerings to the monastery, and then I don't want to leave anybody out. Who's here? Who else? Do you know? YC is Friday. YC is here. She's Friday, right? Yeah. She gets up and she and Fang Jiaohua bake bread, and make these vegetables. And it's like, so we have a form of receiving alms, but it's family by family. It's not that we go out to around. They bring it to the monastery. And it works really well, but imagine if we said, we're going to the houses in Berkeley, One thing I was really aware of on alms rounds in Thailand was the road, because I was barefoot and the road was full of pebbles. And if while bowing, 3 steps, 1 bow, Wilshire Boulevard in Beverly Hills is called the $1 Million Mile. The sidewalks all are black with little gold flecks to indicate that this is ritzy place, and it burns when you bow, and the road, and sometimes you're on grass, and look at this, all these verses about the road. Why? Because you're on your feet going for food. You don't drive to alms rounds, This is all about the road. Isn't that interesting? And the analogies are what? Buddha path, right? The walking through the purified Dharma realm, transcending 3 realms, humble and respectful. Crooked path, may you renounce crooked ways, walk on a straight road. And then when I see the straight road, I think right away in my mind, can my mind be straight like the road? Dusty road, can I leave the dust behind? Dust-free road, may we always practice great compassion. A dangerous road, may we all live in the realm of the right Dharma. So all these analogies for roads, right? Tada?
Can I share a story?
Yeah.
So this is a story I read a number of years ago about almsgiving that really struck me. What happens is there's this Thai lady who lives in England, and she's in England for a couple of years, and she gets really, really depressed. And this depression lasts and no treatment or whatever helps. She can't quite figure out what's wrong. And then one day, I guess some friend or family member takes her along to a Buddhist monastery of course, like the children that Heng Sure was talking about, she grew up making offerings to monks. So she had the opportunity after a number of years to once again make offerings to monks. And she did that, and she starts glowing with light. And, you know, she slowly recovered from her depression. And her comment was, I know what's wrong with this country. There's no chance to practice generosity.
There you go. Now, there we go. Good. I would like to make one point about alms rounds that I hope people take with them, which is what the bowl, our bowl that is the monks and nuns get when they ordain, is not a begging bowl. Right? I would hope we would take begging bowl and put a red X through it. There's no begging anywhere. To beg, you say, please give me, or I want, right? You don't talk, much less do you say, I want. There's no self and there's no desire. Greed. That would be a non-dharma, right? We just kind of get in the habit because people look at it and think, oh, you're begging, you beggars, solicitors, you know. And it's like, no, not us. You know, I would rather not eat than you consider me out there begging, you know. Because it's so, and we kind of get in the habit, do a begging bowl. Like we say, filial piety, right? There's no piety in filiality at all. It's not pious. If it's pious, you missed it, you know. It's a heart feeling of returning kindness. So, what is it? It's an alms bowl. It's an alms bowl. And here's the way to think about it. This was explained to me by Ajahn Pasano and Amaro. They said, people say, what are you doing out here? We say, we are making ourselves available if you would like to practice generosity. Now think about that. That was Fetta's line from the woman, right? It says, it's on you. If you want the benefits of generosity, supporting someone's spiritual practice, I'm here to take what you'd care to give, as long as it doesn't break my precepts. It's 100% opposite of begging. Begging is give to me, right? The statement that the monks make is, if you want the good stuff, I'm here so you can make that happen. I'm an agent for your creation of blessings. I am a field of blessings. Different, right? So please, in the future, go begging bowl, nope, alms bowl.
What do you do for when you throw a steak in there?
When you throw a steak, you say, yeah, right. We get along pretty well with our Theravada Dharma brothers. There is one place where we differ, and that's in the matter of receiving offerings. They say you must take what is given. You must not select among the offerings. That's the Theravada tradition. That's their position. You must take what's given no matter what. Don't select. The Buddha never taught us to select. Okay, Shifu heard that, and he would say, yeah, what if they drop some dog poop in your bowl? You're forced to take it? Would that be wisdom? You know? And what do you say? You know? So what I say, and I've gone round and round and round with the Bhante, because we have our sutras that say, you know, you don't eat the flesh of living beings. That hurts compassion. That injures your seeds of great compassion to eat the flesh of a fellow creature, right? And they have their sutras that say you must, you know, go for alms 7 consecutive houses if you choose to, but you don't say no to whatever's offered. Okay, so what I say is it's really good to make yourself available for people to plant blessings, but if you notice what people give, often in Thailand, people give the monks food they themselves don't eat. They specially buy it because they think better blessings if it's better quality food, higher in the food chain. Meat, fish sauce, right? And in fact, laity give wealth, Sangha gives Dharma. You can say to people, say this, I really love being here for you to plant blessings, but I really want all of us to have wisdom. In fact, I do very well on the food you yourselves eat. You don't need to give me special food. We would like to not eat meat that you yourself don't eat. Please give us vegetables. We do fine on that food. We do very well, right? So my job is to give you wisdom. Please give us food that furthermore doesn't create negative karma for you because you're dealing with dead bodies, and I don't want it in my diet either. So I'm very happy with ordinary food that is not didn't die for me, right? You can say that. And I say, could you say that to those people? Well, they probably wouldn't understand it. Well, why don't you say it in a way they can understand? You know, because why? Meat is not good for them to give, not good for you to eat, not good for them to eat. Why accept it? Give wisdom. That's your job, to give wisdom. Tell them lower on the food chain is perfectly fine, and furthermore, it's sustainable. If we all eat meat, we can't sustain it. There's not enough to go around.
There's a field of blessing, right? And that's the
field of blessing.
The goal is for people to create blessings with. It's not to feed monks. It's not for us to get fat.
There you go.
So, and we can start with that. That's okay. But the field is giving you an opportunity to create a blessing. And if you give meat, you're actually doing the opposite. Mm-hmm. And you have to instruct your people in that dharma. But they don't accept that, or at least not.
It's hard to communicate because you've got about 800,000-900,000 years of tradition against you. So it's kind of ironic that a lot of monks in the Thai tradition come to me and say, you know, I used to be a vegetarian until I left home.
Could I ask a question?
No, I'm sorry, Joanne. Time's up. Yes, please go ahead.
I talked to a theravada practitioner and I asked him about this question, and he said there was nothing in the Pali canon that said they had to be vegetarians. And I was wondering if there's some sort of historical component involved in that in the early days of the Buddha, maybe people didn't have a lot of meat to give to. I'm just
right.
supposing.
Yeah, well, you're bringing up the sore spot, and this has been looked at with a magnifying glass for a very, very long time, because there are some people who like to eat meat, people in robes. They don't want to change. They're interested in preserving it for flavor. It's convenient. There are other monks in the very same tradition who are saying, first of all, it's clear that meat doesn't help your body. Next, it's not sustainable. Not everybody can eat meat. There's just not enough resources to feed the livestock that then you turn into hamburgers. Why not feed the body directly with what you'd feed to the livestock? And there are other people who say this is just too outmoded. It's an old custom. So where do they go? They go to what's called the 3 kinds of pure meat. And they say, see, the Buddha allowed monks to eat meat if you looked at the meat and said, it was not killed for me. I didn't see it killed for me. I didn't hear it cry as it was slaughtered for me. And I don't suspect that it was killed for me. It's pure, I can eat it. Right? Because it wasn't killed for me, I didn't, blah, blah. There's another way to say, they say, the Buddha allowed monks to eat meat if they lived in a place where there were no vegetables, above 10,000 feet. So what do Tibetans eat? Sampa. Sampa is barley mixed in a paste, and you get tired of sampa after a while, so you supplement it with what's available, which is not spinach, or carrots, so Brussels sprouts. So you say, okay, yeah, but guess what? We don't live at 10,000 feet. We live in California, we live in Malaysia, we live in Taiwan, we live in Thailand. There's abundant vegetables. So it's like those old arguments are, they bring them out every time. So it's too bad that there are places where we don't see eye to eye. That's probably the only one, actually, where the theravada and the mahayana disagree. We bring out our sutras that say, how can you consider yourself a disciple of the Buddha and eat the flesh of living beings when you have abundant other ways to nourish your body that don't involve killing? So, yeah. So these are what alms round issues.
And I think, however, in the West, that is changing quite a bit. Like, for instance, in Bayagiri, there's definitely vegetarian monks there. So you can actually be a monk in that tradition and be vegetarian.
How do they do it?
They just
And I know one Polish shamanera in Amaravati who is the vegan actually.
A vegan.
I know, but how do they do it? Because they're supposed to eat whatever's given.
No, so what Reverend Heng Sure described is basically what happens for the alms round. You go out for alms rounds and they bring all the food back, and then they put it all out on the table, and then you actually pick.
Oh, you can
go
pick
through.
it.
You can pick. So if it actually has fish sauce on it, you generally know which ones have fish sauce or has a little bit of meat in it. So you just get vegetables, you get rice.
So we visited Amaravati in England, which is where Ajahn Amaro is now teaching, right? And our delegation was there, and of course Amaro knows really well how we eat. He's been everywhere in our world. So it was time for lunch, and there's these long tables, just like we had today, you know, and half of the food had a little flag, and it said DRBA friendly. Ajahn Amaro had typed it out and put it in the flag, and that meant no onions, no garlic, no meat, no fish. DRBA friendly. In order to get us in bed in time, we need to stop the sutra at this point and continue tomorrow morning, and there we saw in one of the photographs earlier on the handle of the bridge a verse from the Avatamsaka Sutra. Where else did those wind up?
There are two at our sink.
Okay, two by the sink.
One in the bathroom.
One in the bathroom. Okay. Our sutra has now crossed that invisible barrier between page and reality, right? Between text and sense realm. So interesting, right? In other words, those verses are there to be used to help our mindfulness. And we decided what? We're not going to finish the text tonight, so it's a 2-year sutra. 2-year chapter. You got to come back next year. That's my excuse anyway, and I'm sticking to it. So, otherwise, they say, gee, you know, that's disrespectful to the text to open it and then not finish it. Meanwhile, we thought we would mention something that came out of Buddha Root Farm 2014, which is the Medicine Buddha Mantra in Sanskrit. And Fab, you want to introduce? I need to give you this mic according to our cameraman. I'll hold the guitar if you want to park that. Got it?
So it was 2014? I thought it was 13.
2013.
Yeah.
Got it.
So 2013 we studied the Medicine Buddha Sutra. And Heng Sure and I kind of worked on this melody of this very short mantra. We were actually just outside on those steps over there. I pulled out my guitar and it just kind of came out, and came out pretty much whole. It was like the first time through, it was like, there it is.
It did.
So we worked on it a little bit and played it on I guess the Thursday night as well, it might have been the last night. And there's a translation that I just double checked with Lauren to make sure that it was okay. I don't know if you want to scroll down. And so here's the really cool thing about Sanskrit for me is that you don't really need to know the translation. It's kind of like a bonus. I think there's a part of us that knows what it means at a cellular level. That's my experience of Sanskrit anyways. It hits me at a core that is far deeper than my intellect. But if you're so inclined, here's the translation.
Now, let me add a bit. Every morning, we who are here doing the morning chanting go through the 10 small mantras, and we go to Namo Boche Fadi Bisha She Julu Bilio Li Bola Po Hola Sheye Dato Jedo Ye Ola Hudi Samya Samputo Ye Dojer Tonan Bisha She Bisha She Bisha She Samojeri Soha. That's it. Right there. Maybe I should put these together again. Anyway, this we have it in Sanskrit, we have it in Chinese version of Sanskrit, and we have it in English. And that's it. Medicine Buddha mantra. Both of these instruments had a single maker. In fact, same piece of wood. Font. Make the, yeah, here we go. Coming up. There you go. Okay.
Saja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaisaje Mahavaisaja Samudgate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vaisaja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaisaje Mahavaisaja Samudgate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vaisaja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaisaje Mahavaisaja Samudgate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vaisaja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya
Everybody.
Tadyata Om Vaisaje Mahavaisaja Samudgate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vaisaja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaisaje Mahavaisaja Samudgate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vaisaja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya
Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tajata Baisaje Mahabaisaja Samudgate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Baisaja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Baisaje Baisaje Mahabaisaja Samudgate Swaha
Shifu wrote this in English. I'm really lucky to study Buddhism because last life I planted good seeds. Now in this life I met good friends and a good knowing one to teach me deep wisdom. I think that I will go to Buddhahood real soon. I hope so. My Dharma friends and I together we'll go to perfect enlightenment, to perfect enlightenment. Again, I'm really lucky to study Buddhism because last night I planted good seeds. Now in this life I met good friends and a good knowing one to teach me deep wisdom. I think that I will go to Buddha real soon. I hope so. My Dharma friends and I together we'll go to perfect enlightenment, to perfect enlightenment. So there you go.
That should be the first
Shifu's
song.
English. What's that?
That one should be the first song in the book.
That should be the first song, yeah.
The Buddha meditation machine.
In the yeah, and Buddha meditation. Absolutely. It's a really good idea. That's not a funny idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
There you go. Okay. So the last one in the songbook is the dedication of merit. We'll do that. Everybody gets early sleep. Do we have announcements tonight? We do. Okay, so we'll finish up here, and it's already 9:20, so we need to get the song and then business, and then get to sleep. So, and remind everybody that sleeping is really good. So we're excited and full of fa xi, Dharma joy. We need to be quiet and considerate of the other people sleeping in the tent next to you as much as you want to hash over what happened today. And it's really good to transform that energy inside. And tomorrow morning we'll be bright-eyed and our wisdom will have grown as well. So here we go. Isn't this a beautiful guitar? Because our hearts are one, this world